In this video, we're gonna talk about do's and don'ts whilst dancing with strangers. Hello, my beautiful subscribers. Rasa the dancer is here. And in this video, I will tell you what you should and shouldn't do whilst dancing with strangers. Now, one would think it will kind of like a natural instinct kick in. However, not always it does. So think about this video as a bit of guidance, yes? So you could be maybe just starting to dance, so you haven't experienced a lot yet. So this will be a good way to introduce yourself what you should or shouldn't do. But you might be dancing for a really long time and you might have not even thought about it and you might be doing this. So this is a good way to also check yourself for just in case. Either way is to get you dancing and to make sure that you have the best experience ever. So let's get started. Okay, one of the most important things that you should be mindful of when you're dancing with strangers is personal space. Now, this is for me huge, and I think this happens all the time. If you've been dancing for a while, you might forget that other people might not be dancing for a while. So people who dance for a long time, we already used to being close to one another. We used to, hugging, we know each other, we dance together all the time. The personal space between dancers who's been dancing for a while is so little. It's like we become not normal in real life. We need to remind ourselves that not everybody is the same. So you have to think about that, because when you start to dance with somebody who you don't know, is a stranger for you, you always want to make sure there's a respectful amount of space before you start playing around and messing about. Because once you start dancing, you're trying to find the connections and you're trying to assess how comfortable that person is. Also, it's not just that, it's also, you can't just assume that everybody's on the same level of intimacy. So some people actually, they dance for a long time, but they enjoy the space. They don't like to be all up and close. So that's a huge thing as well. It's not necessarily that they're just starting to dance and they're not comfortable. Everybody has a different level of okay. So you have to make sure that in the beginning, if you're dancing with somebody you don't know, you give them their space and you get to know them and you allow them to show you what is the comfortable thing for them. Does that make sense? And it's the same with the hugs. Some people hug in big time. Some you will see just give you a cheek. Like, everybody has their own limits and none of it is wrong or right. Don't force your opinion of how close they should be. You have to find a way to dance with whoever you're dancing in a way where you both enjoy and have a good time. And it's not just you who is supposed to impose how you think it should be, right? So first and foremost, give people some space. Number two, super important, to make sure you understand more or less what's the level of your partner. So if you're leading somebody who you don't know and you just start throwing things at that person without even having an idea how many classes that person attends or what's their level, you're just going to freak them out. It's like very arrogant and selfish to do that. So you're supposed to, start nice and easy with a couple of different moves and then build it up as you go along. You're not supposed to take somebody and just attack them with 10 patterns and stuff, or like crazy body movement. And if you are a follower, you also have to assess if the leader is just starting, if it's not like a super advanced leader. You have to tone a little bit down. You can't just be, throwing all of the styling in or be miserable. Like, it's a different way to respond to somebody, but everybody's at different level and you want them to come back to dancing. You don't want to put them off, okay? Don't ruin it for the rest of us. So you have to, okay, if this leader is just starting, you want to take it nice and easy. You want to make sure that they feel like, you're participating, that you're enjoying yourself because they're on the journey. They're still starting, they're going to get better. But your job is to make sure they come back to classes, that they want to come back, right? So the most important thing as well is to make sure that you just don't ignore the fact that everybody is on a different journey, right? Everybody started in a different time, but we all dance together. How to coexist? We have to find what level each person's at and adapt to them accordingly. And finally, when you dance with a stranger, you have to make sure that after the dance, you leave them feeling good about themselves and the dance, and not vice versa. I mean, if the person you're dancing with is a complete bad person, like being inappropriate or rude or like ignorant or whatever, that's a different story. We're not talking about those people. Those people deserve nothing. But if you're dancing with a normal person, but then you leave them worse than what you found them, that is not a good thing to do, right? So how do we achieve this? First, we are engaged. We acknowledge them when we dance with them, and we try to make sure we don't have a sour face. Now, sometimes, because we're thinking or we're stressed, there's many different reasons why the face might go, right? But then we need to be aware of it and maybe try to breathe here and then, have maybe a fake smile here and there, whatever. But, if you have an issue with your face, maybe it's something you can work on because it leaves people feeling really bad. They think it's them. But also very important for me personally, if somebody asked me to dance from like across the corner, like in the room. So let's say I wasn't dancing in the middle of the room. I was maybe standing somewhere by the bar. I actually like if you go all the way to that corner to drag me from that corner, take me to the middle of the dance floor. It would be really nice if after the dance, you guide me off the dance floor. Unless somebody invites me or unless I go to somebody else. But otherwise, you just dragged me. We had the dance and then you just abandoned me. I hate that so much. I mean, you don't need to be like back in the day on the hand and walk me back. But I'd like some sort of acknowledgement of thank you, I appreciate you coming all the way here. I don't know. So sometimes it's enough like if it's a hug and, thank you very much, or just holding my hands and thank you very much, and just have a look whether it's super busy and I'm going to be trying to leave the dance floor like this, a little bit of acknowledgement or something. But a lot of the times you would just say thanks. And then literally you would turn around and you ask somebody else to dance. And I'm just like, what? It's like, okay, which I understand. I get it. Like if it's a massive Congress, it's different, right? If you have, 5,000 people there, of course, you're not going to walk back and forth from each corner. I get it. But then you would also, dance like this somewhere around yourself, right? And maybe here and there or whatever. And you wouldn't take somebody to the middle of the dance floor. If you ask somebody from the corner, maybe you'll dance in that corner and then, they're in that corner again. But I don't know. Is it just me? Leave me a comment. Is this just my obsession? But like, I really, really dislike that when somebody just abandons me. Maybe it's my childhood trauma, abandonment issues. Could be. I don't know. But if you see me in the corner and you ask me to dance and you take me to the middle of the dance floor, it would be really nice if you take me back to my corner. Just saying. Maybe it's just me being a girl. I don't know. But there's many ways you can actually make the person feel good. Being attentive, saying thank you, acknowledging them, smiling them when you're dancing with them. If you enjoyed the dance, telling them, I did enjoy the dance, little things. But you want to make sure you leave the person feeling better than they came in rather than worse. All right, my peoples, this is where you tell me in the comments whether you have any advice how you should act with strangers on the dance floor. Is there anything I missed out? And let me know if I'm crazy with some of the points that I made. But these points I think are super important for me personally. So I would be curious to see what you think. And of course, subscribe to the channel. We are here together in this, so make sure you show me some love. And guys, I'm gonna leave you with some videos of how to behave on the dance floor. So if you haven't watched them, make sure you do and enjoy your dancing. Mwah!